What's going on, everybody? David here from Bluckers Videos and Toys, and today we are going to be checking out the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Strike Attack Gastonia from the Epic Evolution line that Mattel released back in 2024. So this is pretty much a brand new species to the line, and so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the packaging. Then we're going to take the figure out, and then we're going to take a look at that while we do some size comparisons, and then we'll just wrap up this video. Alright, so this is your basic standard Strike Attack packaging. This is what it looks like throughout the line. It's an open style packaging where you have the logo right there, and then here you have a photo of a mountain range right there. So that's basically letting you know the environment setting that it's in. And then, of course, you got the, excuse me, it's a little too bright right there. Of course, you have the figure right here that's in the middle of the packaging. And then right there, it just gives you a little picture of what you need to do to make the action feature work. And then below it, below the figure, you have Allosaur right there, the Netflix logo here. You got Darius here, who is a young adult now. And then Strike Attack along with Combat Extreme on the side of it. And then Gastonia. And then Jurassic World Chaos Theory with the Epic Evolution logo right here. And then ages 4 and up, that's me. And then you got the Mattel logo right there. And then here you have Jurassic World Chaos Theory logo right there. And then here on the other side, just a bunch of information, like recycling information and stuff like that. And then at the bottom, you have all the copyright logos and information here. And then on the back of the packaging, here's the standard back for this particular line right here. And then you have the Jurassic World Chaos Theory logo there. And then up here, Strike Attack, Combat Extreme, Gastonia. And then you got the mountain biome right there. And then here in the middle, it just tells you that, the tail striking action. And then it gives you the information here on this photo right there to how to operate the tail striking action. And then, of course, here is your fax app information. So if that still works, if it does still work, excuse me, there it is. And so here is the other figures that are in the line. And you got the Dilophosaurus, the Chasmosaurus, and then this weird looking Monolophosaurus. Now, I have this, so we will be reviewing that soon. But I don't have any of these. I almost got this, but I decided not to because I got plenty of Monolophosaurus, and even though that is a different design, it just didn't warrant me to pick it up. So that is it for the packaging, and let's go ahead and take some time and take this figure out and take a look at it. Alright, so we got the figure out of its packaging, but I did want to take a look at the card back. So basically, you got an open road here, and if you've seen the show, you know that they spend a lot of time on the road. So that makes sense. And then you got the mountains, and then you get the sun right there that's very bright. And so you got the yellowish and sky right there, and the sun setting down to have that effect on the mountains and everything. And then you got the clouds, and like I mentioned before, you got the Jurassic World logo right there, and then you have the mountain biome logo right there as well. So this is how basic card back for the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Epic Evolution Strike Attack packaging will look. So yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. Alright, so there is your Gastonia. So basically this, I don't have a whole lot of information on this because I didn't even know what a Gastonia was until I bought this figure. So this is a brand new species to me, so I don't have a whole lot of information on it. Just by the little bit of research, I do know that this is a part of the Nodrosauridae family. So this is a Nodrosaur species, and they're the ones that don't have like the big clubby tail, like an ankylosaur. They're just like basically like a cousin or some shit like that. But it did live in the early Cretaceous in the Cedar Mountain Formation, which is in Utah. So we do have some species that we will compare it to that lived alongside it. It's just a couple of them. I don't have a lot of species that lived in the excuse me, the Cedar Mountain Formation in my collection. So that's slowly but surely coming along. So yeah. All my dinosaurs that I get from the Jurassic World line. I don't go out and buy all the other stuff that they have out there that actually have proper species for certain things and stuff. That's not my collection. This is pretty much all I get as far as my dinosaur collection. So that's why it's kind of comparisons and stuff and species that it lives with is kind of minimal. So here's what it is. But anyways, yeah, this is a pretty cool looking figure. It's basically on this charcoal body, and it's got some airbrushing here on the side of the legs, and the face looks pretty cool. So the eyes right there, and then the eye right there. Let's go ahead and there we go. Looks good there. So you can tell it's got an ankylosaurid head sculpt right there. So even though it is a nodrosaur, but the head sculpt is kind of like an ankylosaur. So like I said, they're like cousins. Little beak right there. So, and I do like the fact that they actually have the sided spikes, rubbery, and then here all this is rubber right there because it's a separate piece. You can tell it's a separate piece. So that's pretty cool. So I do like that. So like all this right here, the top part is a separate piece. It's just like 3 different layers. So that's pretty neat. So I do like that. But yeah, it's not a whole lot of texturing. Just kind of look at that soft belly right there. It's not real dense or anything, so it's a little chunky. So the hind legs are pretty deep cut right there a little bit, along with the front legs too as well. So no painting toenails or anything like that as usual. So I'm trying to get this. There we go. But yeah, it's a nice little figure. Like the little details here in the back. At least they went down to here. Spikes here in the back on that. I don't think they had the little spikes here. I think it was more it was big and then it just kind of got smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think at the end of the tail, from the actual pictures I've seen, it didn't have none of this stuff. So basically, you could have just saved that, and just kind of kept all this right there, and it would have been fine, So here is the Facts app information. If anyone wants that, you can have it. So, but overall, this is a good looking figure. It's small, it's not too big or anything like that. So, the action gimmick right here moves the tail. So, you had to press the 2 sides in the middle, the spikes. So you just press in like that, and then it gives you that tail wagging. But yeah, overall, this thing's a nice little figure. So let's go ahead and do some comparisons. All right, so one of the comparisons that we have, these couple of dinosaurs are ones that lived alongside it in the Cedar Mountain Formation in Utah. So these are the only couple of species that I have that actually lived alongside it and that I could find. But yeah, this is another Sauridae, or excuse me, Anadrasaur is a Sauropelta. So as you can tell, it doesn't have any of the clubs or anything like that. It's just mainly known for its spikes. So I don't believe this had this many spikes, but I could be wrong. Somebody in the comments, please let me know. But I think it was kind of more of kind of like this, but without the without these big thagomizers on the sides, you know. But it was kind of like more like this. So this is what the minus this. This is probably what the Gastonia looked like, you know. But this is, I think this is more exaggerated, you know. This is what more of the ankylosaur would look like, but not as exaggerated. But this is what the Gastonia would look like, minus this big ass thagomizer on the side. But it just had more of these, like probably like more like this size all along, you know. And then the tail would be like this too as well. So, but you know, it is epic evolution, so this is going to be a little bit more exaggerated. But in reality, it'd be more like this minus these big old thagomizers on the side. So, but yeah, I do like it though. I do like the figure though. I'm glad I have it. You know, even though it's not scientifically accurate, you know, as it shouldn't be, because this is Jurassic World. All right, and so the last figure that we have that lived alongside the Gastonia is the Seat's Mickey Worm. So, even though we don't know exactly what the Seat's looks like, it's only got like what, I forgot what it was that they found on it, but it was like a brand new species that it wasn't even complete. So they went off by some kind of bone, I think. But I do have a review of this, so if you want to check out the review of the Seats, go check out my playlist, and it's there. So I'll give all the information about that and whatnot. But anyways, so, but yeah, this is what lived alongside it, Seats, and then you got the Sauropelta. So I do like the ankylosaurs and Nodosaur figures that we've got. Some of my favorite figures. All right, so we are going to do a human comparison. So here is Dr. Grant, and it's pretty much about right. About the scaling, it's about right. Might be a little bit bigger, but overall that's pretty good scaling. All right, so that is the review of the Gastonia. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this figure. Do you like it? Do you have it? Are you going to add it? I think it's a good figure. I like it, even though it is a little bit exaggerated, but it is the Epic Evolution line, which I do like. I know they have the new line, Survival, which is way over exaggerated when it comes to species, but I know that Universal allows Mattel to go crazy when it's not movie season. So I think they kind of really didn't go overboard, but I do have to dip into that particular line because I do need a few of their newer species, which most of them, if not all, I have no clue what they are, but they're new to the collection because I don't have them. So yeah. Anyways, but I can tolerate Epic Evolution because the simple fact that it's not overly exaggerated. You know, they actually, the way they did it makes sense because they are actually trying to evolve with their environment. So that's cool. But that survival stuff, ooh, I know a lot of people like it, and that's fine. A lot of collectors love that line, which is okay. You know, that's them. But I'm not too big of a fan. I'm just only going to collect the new species that we don't have already. So, anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of this particular figure. And don't forget, where's the wisdom? Buy what you love and not what you like, because if you buy what you like, you always end up getting rid of it. And I will catch y'all later.